Right, this has taken an arm and a leg to get to this point, okay? So I hope everyone appreciates this video. I'm going to start it with a like and subscribe, please, because I'm at my wit's end, okay? This is my second time attempting to record this. The first time I did it, I spoke for 18 minutes and lost my voice, okay? So that's a brilliant way to now to actually start it. Basically, I always film on my trusty Mobilia device. This has failed me recently because it has no storage even after I've wiped my entire camera roll. So this is going to be good. I'm sure the lighting is going to keep shifting up and down. The mic's probably going to cut out at some point. I'm just going to die. Just kidding. It should be fine. The good thing about filming on my laptop, though, sorry, I didn't even say that. I'm now filming on my laptop. The good thing about doing that is now I can get my notes, and I've got notes so I can stay on topic and try not to waffle and keep this in an organized manner. Because to be fair, the first time I did that, man was rushing, didn't really, I just was saying words. It didn't feel that like substantial because I'm known for saying a lot of substantial stuff. Anyway, I don't even know if that's the right word to use. Anyway, let's get to it, right? We are back after a year. I've decided to myself that after every year, till I die, just kidding, I don't know if I can commit to that. No, let's commit to that. I'm going to film a video doing a roundup on that year. Okay, I've done one for the gap year. Might as well do one now for the first year of uni. I'll do one for the second year of uni, the third year, then I'm graduated, I'm in the adult world. It will just be fun to look back on because I can't lie, I'm not a narcissist, but I have watched my gap year video quite a lot to reminisce, and it's quite nice. You know what I mean? So let's get straight to it. I'm going to start off with actually where we left the gap year, okay? The gap year video, because things still managed to happen just after I filmed that video. I sound like I'm like announcing a death of a relative. That's not the case. In the gap year video, if you have watched it, if you haven't, I recommend. I think it's a banger. I think it's great. It really gives you an insight to me, and then I'm going to be referencing a lot of things in it, to be fair, to like now. Anyway, the gap year I mainly focused on netball and how much netball has like changed my life and how much I loved it and how much that year was like the best season of my life and all this stuff. A few weeks after I filmed the gap year video, we had trials for my club for that season. During the trials, it was the last one. I'd been playing the best I had played for those trials as well. That day, I played goal defense. I was marking one of the shooter's shots. I jumped and I landed, and my ankle didn't quite click into gear. I didn't land on the base of my foot, but I also didn't just roll my ankle. I heard a pop and I sat down, and then I was like, that's that. I can't put any weight on that. So I had my first sports injury. It was my ankle. Still has to be taken very seriously, okay? I ended up going to the doctors for an x-ray just to make sure, for a peace of mind, because I thought there's no way this is going to wipe me out or anything, is it? Like, it's going to be a sprain. People do that. But I kept replaying like the pop in my head, and I thought, oh, I don't think sprains sound like that, respectfully. Went to the doctors, did an x-ray, got the x-ray back. They were like, it's just a sprain. I thought, real. There's massive bruise, the swelling, it will go down. I'll live my life. I'll be back on the court in no time. That wasn't the case. They then called me 2 weeks later and was like, okay, so turns out you need an MRI. It's like, brilliant. That's exciting. I go to the MRI, I get the MRI, I get the results of the MRI. See this lighting? Can we calm down, please? Anyway, I got the results of the MRI. Out of the three important ligaments in my ankle, I tore one of them, and I can't remember what I did to the other one, but it definitely wasn't good. So that was that, and they had advised me to not play netball for a month. I'm fine now. I'm playing netball. I'm being dramatic. This was over a year ago now. Actually, no, it was not. Still less than a year ago. But I'm back to playing netball. I still love it. Okay, it's all fine. But during those 4 months, I wanted to die. Okay, that was my one sport. It was a bit of social interaction on a Monday evening. I bloody love it. Okay, I live and breathe netball. I love it. Not play for 4 months shattered not only my confidence but my soul because I bloody love netball and I couldn't play for 4 months. And I was not prepping because I wasn't being like, oh my god, no. But I knew that when I started uni in September, I did want to be in the netball team, but I wouldn't have had played netball for 4 months. Like the physio told me, we would recommend you playing like your first match if like going back to match play in October. That sadly wasn't going to happen. I think I ended up going back at the end of September, to be fair. So I was very close to the actual date, and my ankle was fine. I was doing the physio and everything, like it worked out. So we can calm down. It was fine. She's back. Okay, it was fine. But it was a really hard few months. Actually, I just remember sobbing a lot. I can't play netball, but it worked out. I can play now, and my ankle's pretty decent. It's not 100%, I have to say. If I turn it a certain way, there is an ache. But I've carried on playing netball and I haven't done any damage to it. And I know my little physio thingies to do. I know how to strengthen my ankle. I'm fine. So that's that. I'll get to netball in the uni team when I go onto the subsection of uni. But for now, I'm just continuing the stuff that I started with the Yap Year video to continue with the things that wasn't such a massive change that still happened. I don't mean to check my phone. I'm just, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm so rude. Next thing I want to talk about, I realised I rewatched my Gap Year video the other day because I'm so vain. And I only had 4 tattoos in that. I'm now on a solid total of 9. And as you can see, this arm has suddenly become decorated. I'm not going to tell you, I'll obviously do a tour. I won't go through them in order because I can't remember what order I got them. Anyway, we'll start with this arm because I love this arm. You can see this little boot. This is matching with the beautiful Neve. I say matching. I don't think a lot of people know that they are actually different. It's the exact same shape of shoe. Her star pattern is different, and she doesn't have this little black filled in bit, whereas I do. But it's still matching. Very cute. This is my second favourite tattoo of all time. Sadly, the dead dad has to go to number 1. But yeah, this is Claude. He's a cat with a croc on its head. I love him. Okay. Then we've got Charlie and Lola like style butterflies. These I want to clarify don't have meaning, apart from obviously that's Neve. That is Neve. But this one, I love Charlie and Lola. I value my childhood so much. Okay, I'm the most sentimental piece of shit ever. And Charlie and Lola is huge, and I love my childhood. Why not get a permanent reminder of that on my body? Oh, these are dancing skeletons. Just dance till you're dead. I think that's a great message to live by. And they're quite funky, and I like the little disco ball. And then we have this guy who my mum says looks like a towel. He's not a towel, he's a ghost. Okay. If I could go back in time, I would probably think about which hearts I got filled in to differentiate. That wasn't pronounced right. I'm moving on. These are eyes. Okay, you see this? This is a ghost. A ghost next to my dead dad. I am describing this meaning as finally being comfortable with the idea of death, and I mean that with anything and anyone. Myself, family members, just being like, I know because I've gone through this, that anything else should be a walk in the park. Just kidding. But it's a reminder to be like, I have been extremely strong with my dead dad. I can do this again. I'm more comfortable with going through it because I've gone through it, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean I want to die or want anyone else to die. I'm just saying the idea of death isn't as looming as scary as it used to be. So those are the things that haven't really changed. I've still gotten tattoos. I've had piercings, I think. I can't remember if I had, this is my second nose piercing. I'm done with piercings, okay? I can't be bothered. I wish I could be those girls who have their ear really nicely decorated. For netball, that would be the biggest pain in my ass. Also, so much effort to heal. Do you know what I mean? My nose is painful enough. I don't want to go through anything like that. My nose, actually, nobody cares, hasn't ever been an issue apart from being extremely painful when I actually got it pierced. And that was because a piercer has now told me I have extremely thick cartilage in my nose. Take that as you will. I don't really know how to take it, just as I've got a thick, bony nose. So that's nice. Put that on my grave. That would be lovely for people to remember me by. Um, so yeah, that's that. We'll now get on to the big gruesome topics, yeah? Okay, now I've got my notes up because I clearly was going to forget that I started uni. Uh, I am funny. Okay, uni. I obviously, in September of 2024. That's scary. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's been 2025 for decades. Um, I started uni. I go to Bath University studying psychology, and I love it. Okay, I never thought I'd be the person. I never thought I'd make it to uni. To be fair, if you saw my A level results and how seriously I took A levels, I think even my teachers would find it a miracle that I made it to uni, let alone passed first year. So, go me. Okay, I defeat the odds. Is that the saying? I don't know. God, I'm really pushing the boat out today, aren't I? Anywho, I go to Basketball University. I just want to clarify. I'm really hoping you cannot hear the WhatsApp notifications coming through. I will die. If you can, sorry. That's that. Anyway, I go to Basketball University. I do live near Bath. I live exactly 20 minutes from my uni, but I stayed on campus for the experience and everything that comes with it. Which I'm extremely grateful I did, because otherwise I would not have met a lot of my favourite people today. So it worked out. There's a lot of I think when people know that I went to Bar, they're a little bit confused why, and they're like, "Why didn't you venture out? Why didn't you want to go further away from home?" One, luckily, Mum was like, "If you want to live on campus, you can live on campus." I lived on campus; it was completely fine. Okay, the second thing, I don't like being far away from my mum, okay? And that's not me being like a homesick child. I'm happy to go away. But the thought of when I was choosing my unis, like back in sixth form, was deep in the fact that my brother was going to be at uni at the same time as me, and that means my mum was going to be home alone. I don't want to be in a position where I'm extremely far away from home and my poor widowed mother is home alone with three cats. Because let me tell you, one, she discovered Instagram and she started posting on Instagram, and the pictures she would just post at the beginning were just the cats, and that broke my heart. Okay, I love my cats, I love my mum, but just knowing my mum was just a little sad woman. She wasn't sad, she was loving life. Actually, I remember the first time I did come home after being at uni for a few weeks for work and netball, she looked 20 years younger, and I thought, damn, me and my brother have really put you through it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that was my biggest reason. I also had a lot of commitments that I wasn't ready to give up locally, like netball, like work, like the falconry, which I will sadly get into. That makes it sound like it's closed down or dead. Okay, no, I've just had to make some really big and sad decisions, which again I will get onto. But anyway, that's the main reason I stayed home. I wasn't ready to give up that. I don't like change a lot, and I don't want to be extremely far away from my mum, who in my head was lonely 24/7. That's not true, okay? She does walking netball, she does aqua aerobics, she's loving life, okay? And I love it, okay? She's branched out, she doesn't have the kids to hold her back anymore. And then the minute we come back, the grey hair comes back, and I just think, God bless Kay. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, no, just kidding. But it was good to have mum there for the netball matches as well, and to be able to continue playing netball and doing the stuff that I had loved so much in the gap year. I didn't want to just suddenly stop that. That's not me. Do you know what I mean? So, which I'm so glad I did, because realistically, we'll go on to the first few weeks of uni and starting it and how I was feeling and some of the big events that happened that shook me a little bit. I just like, sorry for that cough. Isn't it also crazy? The last time I filmed the gap year video, I had a cough, and now I have a cough for year two. Is this going to be a running theme? I hope not, because I hate it. Also, I managed to lose my voice from the first time I was filming. That's why I'm like raspy. I'm sure it's sexy. I'm really sure it's sexy. Anyway, what the hell was I gonna say? Oh, I'm experienced uni as a first year of someone who's had a gap year. And you're probably thinking, all right, quite a lot of people have. It's different, okay? There is a change. For me, anyway, I can't really speak for anyone else, can I? For me, there was a huge mental shift from having the gap year and then going to uni and experiencing a bunch of stuff and just being like, crap. I don't think I was as mentally prepared for this as I thought I was, purely because I've had a year off of literally unicorns and rainbows, like the best year of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just pure happiness and no stress. And then going to uni, I was like, oh crap, haven't experienced this stuff for a long time. But I do think it is different. I do think there's a change, just to be aware of, because that is what I'm going to be talking about. Because the first few, we'll say months. I'll say month actually, and then I'll get on to the hardships that came later on. For the first month of going to uni, like the first few weeks specifically, it was, I don't think I struggled to adapt being away from home. Like I loved it. I loved my room, I had my own bathroom. I loved the people I was sharing my flat with. Um, they are some of the best people I've met, and I literally can't imagine my life without them. Like now, do you know what I mean? And I'm living with them in second year, so that's that. Um, it was more the sudden emotions that came with suddenly being. It wasn't like I was alone because me and my flatmates bonded really quickly, but it was more just suddenly being like, oh crap, this is suddenly a big change. Like what's happening to me? And then luckily I'm so self-aware that I realized exactly what was happening to me and I kind of snapped out of it. Hate to like shove that. It was like a rough few weeks, so I will admit, like the first few days I remember even calling my mum, and I know she's 20 minutes away, but hearing her speak to my cats on the phone, and I started sobbing. I'm 20 minutes away from home. I didn't have to be that dramatic. There was some times though when I would properly sit there and deep the fact that my dad wasn't experiencing me going through uni. He wasn't experiencing me being there. And then I think also the fact of knowing that my mum was at home alone and that my dad wasn't there or anything to just try and like help a little bit with the change, or if they would could be going on holidays or something because both the kids are at uni. It was that kind of hit me more hard than ever. And I know a lot of people are probably like, bloody hell, she mentioned a dad every 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? To those people, I say try losing a parent, okay? Try losing, I mean, don't, because that's really sad. But if any of you lose your parent at whatever age, you will know exactly why I feel the way I feel. I think it's normal, but sadly, I do know there's some absolute plebs out there who will still question why the fact I talk about my dad, even though that's my dad at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't been here since I was 13. Doesn't make a difference. I've had to go through a lot of changes in life and my body and everything, along with going through the grief process. And it's a lot harder than I probably make it seem, because I'll give myself credit where credit's due. I'm an extremely strong individual and I've dealt with it extremely well, but I know some others haven't. Okay, and that's why I talk about it, to let other people know as well. It's okay. Okay, your nan could have died 20 years ago. At the end of the day, that's still your nan. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're still going to grieve her. Anyhow, sorry, little angry rant, but it's got to be done because I know there's some people who will be idiots and say stuff like that. WhatsApp, please be quiet. It's going to be more awkward if WhatsApp isn't speaking and speaking, and then I'm just seeming like I've got schizophrenia. Anyway, moving on. Those were the kind of emotions that I was going through the beginning of uni. And then to top it all off, we had netball trials at the beginning of the first couple of weeks. I don't know if it's clear or not. I didn't make it. Um, Now looking at it is a blessing rather than a curse. Okay, I'm very grateful because I still managed to, because I could fall back on my local and still play for them. And I love those ladies and I love my team so much and that club. I'll put my life on the line for that. So I'm extremely glad I could do that, and I will continue to do that in second year as well. So it worked out in the end. However, having your confidence shattered with the first few weeks of uni, awful. Because don't get me wrong, I know I'm not the best netball player. I know I act like I am. I'm not. and I'm also 5'3" and a defender, and that just doesn't help my odds out at all. Because even though I've got the movement, I've got the jump, I've got like the skills, I'm 5'3", and everyone will see that and be like, well, that's not a threat, even though I can be a threat if necessary. Anyway, I've just made it seem like I definitely do think I am the best netballer. It's not that, okay, but it's happened loads with netball, to be fair, when I know I can do better or I am better and I'm not being rewarded for it. That's the worst part, because I do have the belief in myself, and even though I'm not saying I'm the best of the best, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying I'm not awful. I am not shit. So it would be nice to be recognised for that once in a while, but you never know, do you? You never know. So yeah, that was a right stab to the heart not getting in. Sorry. Excuse me. But like I said, it's a blessing rather than a curse. It just, I'm gonna move. Sorry if you heard hair then. Um, yeah, it didn't make the first few weeks of uni any easier. And then I remember having a breakdown about what course I was doing. It might have been the same day I found that I didn't make the team, to be fair, where I was just like, I struggled with one seminar and I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. I need to pack my bags and go. And thank God I didn't. But still, I think these thoughts and feelings anyway are completely normal at the beginning of uni. But like I said, coming from the gap year where I've had no stress, nothing in the school environment, no one to compare myself to then this, oh, it's a shock to the system, I have to say. But we moved on and we pushed past it. Going back to other reasons I struggled with, though, obviously, I think like when you're in school, no matter what school you go to, everyone experiences feeling jealous, like friendships and everything is changing, like you're viewing yourself differently, like image problems, all that stuff goes on. And when you're in school, you are in a complete state to just completely compare yourself to everyone who's ever been in your classroom, ever. Anyone you sit next to, you get a test back, that person passed, that person failed. You know what I mean? Like it's completely normal. Then you go to the gap year, you don't have that. You're literally happy as anything. You're playing with owls on a Thursday. Do you know what I mean? Like life is bliss. Going then back to uni and being like, hang on a second, I look like this way, I dress this way. Are people gonna think I'm weird? Am I weird? Am I strange? Do people think I'm creepy? People think I'm not funny? Do people think I'm nice? Like it's suddenly like, oh Christ, a lot of feelings resurfacing. We have to go through this feeling of school again. But I will say you get past that in at least December. So I always knew that everyone was like the first term is a lot harder, and I'm like, that's so fair. You are adapting to a lot of change and like assignments and that. I just want to clarify, I didn't really struggle with the assignment side of things. I thought I would because I hadn't been in school for a year. I hadn't, to be fair, taken my A levels that seriously. So it's like I've been clocked out of school for 2 years. And then the assignments, I was like, you know what? I can do this. I didn't need too many things to last minute. Too many. Okay. And I passed. So a win's a win. Um, but yeah, everything else that came with it was a bit of a shock. But you need to talk about this stuff because I think a lot of other people would have experienced it during first year of uni as well and been like, yeah, okay, it's fair. It's such a fair feeling to have. But it was fun. And I met a bunch of brilliant people. I'm now going to go on to some things that was a massive change for me. I'm going to put a trigger warning, not because I'm going to go into detail a lot of things, but some of the things that I may accidentally insinuate may be a little bit dark for some people. And if you don't want to listen to it, I completely fair. So I had my first relationship ever, okay, at the beginning of uni. It was over pretty much as soon as it started, to be fair, but I learned a lot about myself. I'm not going to go into detail about the relationship because I don't think it's respectable, respectful to anybody, like anyone. So I'm not going to do that. But I will say I learned a lot about myself. and I learned a lot about what I want in a relationship and what I definitely don't want in a relationship. And I've also learned a lot about how my body has had certain reactions to past things, and how not having the support system to deal with that is huge. So that's that. But I do also want to say that a few months later, after that relationship thankfully ended, um, I met the love of my life, who is the support system that I need and is extremely helpful, and I love him to pieces. So silver linings, guys. Okay, keep pushing. Okay, life works out. I promise you. Anyway, I do want to talk about, because I just remembered, I went to therapy again. I started therapy again this year in February, I think, for a couple. I think I only did it for like 4 weeks. Um, I just needed it at the time because there was one key thing that me and my um ex had in common, and then it rehashed a lot of feelings. It's the dead dad thing, I'll just say that, okay? It's when you have someone who you can talk to about it, and you like did talk a lot about it, and you're thinking, okay, I haven't been affected about this like in a long time, which is true. Like I haven't, obviously I thought about my dad every day, okay? Not saying that, but I've been be able to talk about it and not get emotional with people. And then when you're going in detail about it because someone else relates, it's completely like, oh, okay, it's different. And it rehashes that up. So I went back to therapy to talk about my dad again because I needed it. And luckily, I am in the position where I can afford therapy and I know when I should have it, and I did have it, and it worked out extremely well. Like the woman was lovely, she's much better than the one I had in year 11, I'll tell you that right now, and cheaper too, so it works out. Um, but yeah, I just needed it because I love talking to other people about my dad, don't get me wrong. But I also know there's a lot of people in the world who, when I do talk about it, don't know how to react at all, which is completely fine. Like, I make jokes about it, I laugh about it, doesn't mean I'm happy about it, okay? Um, but I know there's a lot of people who don't know how to react to that, which is completely fine, because sometimes I make jokes just purely to make people uncomfortable, which is not the nicest on my behalf, but also it's quite funny. So you've got to do what you've got to do. It's a coping mechanism at the end of the day, and people are allowed to cope how they want to cope. That's that. So yeah, going back to therapy and talking about that, and like I said, I think I said this in my gap year video as well. When you're going through, like my dad died when I was 13, and when you're going through different stages of life after he's dead, you do suddenly get the like proper mourning feeling, because you're mourning the fact that he's not there for an experience that you're experienced. You know what I mean? An experience you experience. You know what I mean? Like I'm mourning the fact he wasn't there to help me move in. Right, as we can see, it is a new day. Okay, a little bit more dressed up. I've gotten ready for work. Yesterday, I was midway through talking, and then the mic died. So that was really fun. And then I rage quit, and I thought that's gonna be it for that. So, to be fair, there's not much else to say. The dead dad rant is a dead dad rant. I've done many of them before. I wasn't going to say anything different, let's be real. But what I did realise is that I haven't fully, I think, really expressed the good parts of this year as well. Don't get me wrong, it's been completely different to my gap year, but that's expected, realistically. Um, but I have had a good year. I know I've sounded like I've been miserable and everything has just made me sad. That's not the case. I have had the best, one of the best years. I will remember this year forever, obviously. Um, yeah, I've had to make some hard decisions this year, don't get me wrong. I've took a step back from the falconry that I started volunteering up in the gap year, purely because my stress levels with what I've got on my plate right now are too high. And if I decide to keep going with something or add an extra lot of responsibility onto something, I'm afraid I might explode. Because the moment I'm filming this right now, mentally, I would say I'm not okay. I'm fine. I wouldn't say I'm okay, but I'm also not gonna. I'm on the pill. Do you know what I mean? My hormones are kind of up and down all the time, so I'm just gonna put the blame on that. And then if it continues for a lot longer, um, I shall now know that it's not. But for now, it's manageable. Like I can, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, stress with everything else. I'm very sad and disappointed that I've had to step back from the falconry. I'm still welcome to go there or do a day if I can. Um, but sadly, just with my schedule at the moment, with work and just everything else, it's not feasible, which is extremely disappointing. But it does mean it will give me more motivation to get my shit together. So that's good. But let's highlight the good parts of the year actually before I close off. I have obviously met some of the best people in my life this year. Um, the girls that I'm living with, my boyfriend, like everyone, my friend group at uni, my uni friends. I can't now imagine my life without them, and uni would have been completely different without them. So I'm extremely grateful. The girls that I'm living with, we have the best fun. Like I couldn't imagine my life without them now. Do you know what I mean? Same with my boyfriend, same with my uni friends. Like it's unreal. I'm extremely grateful and I feel very lucky from what I've heard some other people at uni who may have struggled that I've managed to find like my group of people and they're lovely and I love them. So yeah, obviously that's a plus. I would also say a plus is that I feel like I have grown in confidence in a bit. I found my voice a little bit more and I have stepped out of my comfort zone a lot. Um I've also turned 20. I've dealt with the mental mind games that that's kind of given me is a little bit insane. Like, I'm 20 years old and I view my childhood as sacred. Not sacred, but extremely special and sentimental to know that I'm now 20 and basically a full fledged adult. I don't want to die. I just want to be 18 forever. So that's not going to happen, is it? And next year I'll be 21 and then 22. And then before you know it, I'll be 30. So, it's not worth panicking over now. But I had the best like birthday celebrations I've had, I think, in my life. The presents I got were extremely thoughtful, and I will remember those gifts forever, definitely. And I had a fun party, and I loved it. And all my home friends, I've been enjoying just seeing them. And because I'm still local, when they've been back to uni, I've been able to see them really easily, and it's been brilliant. Like there has been a lot of positives to the year. Do not get me wrong. Am known as probably like a negative Nancy, and I will complain and I will focus on the negatives for a long time. That's just how my brain works. I'm a miserable bitch, but what can you do? Do you know what I mean? I'm sorting it out. I hate how I look right now. I just want to point that out. Okay, my hair is greasy. It's now shorter, so my ponytail's a little bit more flat. I look flat-headed, and my skin is awful. And I know for a fact nobody has picked up on that and nobody cares, but I just feel the need to say it. So that's good. But I'm very excited for second year of uni to start. I'm excited to be properly living in a house with my girls. I am excited to go back to netball and do another season. I am excited for a lot of things, okay? I think this year I need it to be a good one. And I'm sure it will, okay? I'm sure it will. But right now, there's just too much stress. You think about money and then I just spiral, and I've been spiraling for a few weeks, and it's just not enjoyable for anyone. But I like to be completely honest on here. I'm an open book when it comes to my feelings anyway. I always say it's better to talk about it than bottle it up, and we all know that's exactly what I do. So, what can you do? But yeah, I would say I'm content, okay? I don't want to suddenly put a damper on this video, like, oh, I'm actually really sad. No, my mood will start improving I am just extremely up and down in hormones at the end of the day, and that does affect my mental ability, my mental stability, sorry, extremely. So, but it's alright. I will pattern up. Life will go on. Do you know what I mean? But it's good to be aware when you're not doing too good. So, I shall leave this here. I hope everyone has had a good year. And I hope everyone's enjoyed listening to my waffle, whether it's just like depressing or a little bit happy. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. And I shall see you all next year in 2026. Yippee! That was a really cringe ending, so I don't want to end it like that. But I love you all, and I shall see you next year. Goodbye.